My life wasn't perfect, yeah, I know that now. When it came crashing down, all I know is that I need you around. When it comes crashing down, all I need is not to feel so much alone. So step inside my zone, baby, you can give me everything I want. Everything I want. Always dance and sing. You're captivating me. All I need is to know that I'm in your heart and never be apart. All I need is not to feel so much alone. So step inside my zone, baby. I can give you everything you want. Everything you want.
Being number one isn't easy.
Climbing up 4 walls in my apartment. I can't spend another second with my brain. Gotta get up and get out, but there's a problem. Every time I go outside, I see your face. Wish you could be here right now, lay here by my side. All day, all day, all day. Tell me it's gonna be alright. Where'd you go, babe? Can't you see that I need company? I'm losing it, losing my way. Only get through when it's you plus me. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Honestly, can't you just call me? Where you at, where'd you go, babe? Let let me fix my mistakes. Wish you could be here right now, lay here by my side, all day, all day, all day. Tell me it's gonna be alright, we gon' work it out. No way, no way, no way, yeah. The floor is cold, it chills my bones. I'm all alone, send me to you. It's been a month since you've been gone. I'm all alone, send me to you. Yeah. Oh. I still miss you. Still miss you. The floor is cold, it chills my bones. I'm all alone, still miss you. It's been a month since you've been gone. I'm all alone, still miss you.
Lately I've been feeling like somebody else. Heard you're moving on with someone new. My friends keep telling me that it was for the best, but I don't know if I will make it through. Cause every morning I wish you were here with me, watching the sunlight fill my room. Falling asleep at night, thinking about you and me. Why did you have to be so cruel? I guess I should have known it from the start, but baby, I was so caught up in you, picking up the pieces of my heart. Oh baby, let me hold you, I just wanna hold you. Girl, I know we said some things we didn't mean, but thought that we could figure this one out. Hate the fact that our love now is separate, but maybe someday you will realize. Cause every morning I wish you were here with me, watching the sunlight fill my room. Falling asleep at night, thinking about you and me. Why did you have to be so cruel? I guess I should have known it from the start, but baby, I was so caught up in you, picking up the pieces of my heart. Oh baby, let me hold you, I just wanna hold you. I guess I should have known it from the start, but baby, I was so caught up in you, picking up the pieces of my heart. Oh baby, let me hold you, I just wanna hold you. Cause every morning I wish you were here with me, watching the sunlight fill my room. I guess I should have known it from the start, but baby, I was so caught up in you, picking up the pieces of my heart. Oh baby, let me hold you, I just wanna hold you. I guess I should have known it from the start,
away, take it away. Feeling too good to me. Chilling all day, all in your space is where I wanna be. Here in this room, what did you do? I just can't get enough. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been hanging by myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah, you always make me feel like home. Yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone. Yeah, you're the reason I'm going out my mind. I just can't stop thinking about you. All that I crave when you're away, nights are sleepless. Do we need space? Yeah, maybe a break. Boy, you're my weakness. Give and we take, the love that we make, it's my favorite drug. I've been working overtime like crazy, just to show you how I really feel.
Oh, mic check 1 2.
Haven't had a single day of duty.
What up, KL?
Just to show you that my love is
What up, 3000 GT? Ooh, a lot of people don't know what a 3000 GT is, but I do.
when I stay.
I wanted one.
Oh baby, can you
I wanted a 3000 GT.
I'm under your spell. Oh baby,
Let's jump on
I
the
just wanna
topic.
take another look at you, so our eyes can finally meet. I just wanna take another look at you. Maybe that's when you will see that I'm falling hopelessly in love with you, 'cause you're making me complete. I just wanna take another look at you. Will you let me? Oh, I hope that someday you will notice every little thing I do for you. Like the time I went to buy you flowers, 'cause you said your favorite one is blue. Do you even care when I stay? Oh baby, can you even tell I'm under your spell? Oh baby, I just wanna take another look at you, so our eyes can finally meet. I just wanna take another look at you. Maybe that's when you will see that I'm falling hopelessly in love with you, 'cause you're making me complete. I just wanna take another look at you. Will you let me? I just wanna take another look at you, so our eyes can finally meet. I just wanna take
Yes,
another
yes.
look at you. Maybe
Man,
that's when you will see
you guys
that I'm
don't understand how much I was
falling hopelessly in love with you, 'cause you're
debating to
making
do
me
this show.
complete.
Let me start
I
up
just wanna
TikTok.
take another look at you. Will you let me?
Let me get TikTok going, y'all. Do this. Go here. All right, TikTok is fired up. Oh, shit, I need to watch the chat. For TikTok, I need to go to TikTok. What am I gonna do? Oh, no, I get the chat over here. I forgot. I get to see the chat right here. Let's open this up. Let's open this up. What up, Philip? Salute, bro.
Hooah!
Good to have you here. Philip, you should be in bed, man. What you doing up? Everybody should be in bed. I'm thinking I'm going to go live tonight with nobody here. I got 3 people here. I'll take it. Doing the show because I just needed to do it. I got tired of kicking the can down the road. Welcome to another episode of High Value Shan, where not only Shan a high value man, so is the content. We're going to talk about some stuff. You know, in the chat, you see my man KL says, you did an excellent job on Hamp's show tonight. Shout out to DJ Hamp. Representing the Manosphere. You know, Obsidian had a show. He was the guest on Hamp's. This might be risky show on YouTube. Oh, he said he hit the sack at midnight. That's what's up, bro. And it was a lot of support in the chat, a lot of hate in the chat. It was almost like a 50-50 split. And but there was only one person that was addressing me in the chat. I was ignoring pretty much everything that everybody was saying. There's a few falsehoods that people were saying about the Black Manosphere, about Obsidian, and I was clearing that up. And the guy Gabe, and it's crazy because I didn't remember who Gabe was. It wasn't until after the show I realized who he was. I didn't even know who he was until later, but that's neither here nor there. He was addressing me in the chat, questioning. He was talking about, he wasn't being disrespectful to me. He was being disrespectful to Obsidian. In my opinion, he was being disrespectful to Ham's platform, but he wasn't being disrespectful to me. And, I was clearing up some things. And like he mentioned, he asked me, now Obsidian was talking about, what it costs to get married. What are the fees that it's going to cost? And people were saying things, like Obsidian gave a detailed breakdown of each item and what the wedding would cost. He said, basic wedding, $35,000. That's if you didn't have a wedding plan. Like he broke it down all the way up to, I think it was 70 or 90,000 if you're overseas with a wedding planner. And then people were like, oh, so you saying that a wedding costs $500,000? I'm just like, yo, it's like I'm tripping because I to see people lie, be disingenuous, be fake in real time is bothersome for me. And Gabe had asked, he said, so, Obsidian said that homes are $400,000. You believe that? I'm like, yeah, I'm in the LA. The houses out here, $400,000. These houses out here are $1 million houses. And so, yeah. And I bought my first house when I got married. Only got it because I was building a family. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have bought a house. And so nobody wanted to cam up, but Gabe finally came up. He did. And when he pulled up, he went straight at Obsidian, was asking questions, but he was talking about this email. And and I'm just thinking to myself, why, when we are given this platform to discuss things that can help people, help Black men, help Black women, help Black community, help people progress, move forward, do better than they were yesterday, today, do better tomorrow than they are today. Do we do petty shit? And so he brought up this email that was sent last October 2024, and I started asking Obsidian questions about it. And so I had already left the show, came back up, and I just had to ask, I was like, why did you ask him about the email today when you had 8 months to ask him? And he went off on me. Well, I don't really need to ask. And what's weird? If you guys go watch the show, I gave the brother props. I didn't have to because I didn't see anything. All I know is that he was on C-SPAN and that he had a course on LinkedIn, of which, all I know is that I gave him props. Like, yo, man, why we got smart brothers like you fighting when we could have smart brothers like you get together with other smart brothers and do better things. That's how I was talking. I wasn't saying I didn't, no disparaging, no insults, no shaming. I never use shaming language. I opened up with, I hate it when I see black men fight. Boy, he didn't want to. He ignored all of that. It's weird. Somebody else said, "Man, you sound like a woman." Somebody, I mean, it was about two or three other people that came at him, said, "You sound like a woman." I didn't say anything like that to him. I didn't tell him what I thought he sounded like. That's what somebody else said. But boy, after I gave him a compliment and told him that, he can help other people. He needs to get with people. I asked him, would he like to work with me? I ain't working with you if you working with Obsidian. I'm like, yo, this is wild to watch in real time. Grown men. I don't know how old he is. I'm 52. And so I had to explain a few things. And then there was some misconceptions about the Manosphere. I had to explain that. Hamp had a really, really good show. Probably took a turn that he didn't expect. But it was a good show nonetheless. But I did have to go up there and ask, why are we fighting? And why are you fighting? Why are we fighting publicly? And why are we fighting publicly on some shit that happened last October? To find it. And I was wondering, I said, this sounds personal. To discover it was personal. For me, off camera, after the show, later discover more in the truth and the backstory. And it's like, oh, it all makes sense now. How come you didn't ask Obsidian why he got a problem with so many, Obsidian said, yeah, but you got kicked off of Bernard Riley's show. Shout out to my man, Bernard. Me and Bernard's good. And I said, yeah, I know about Bernard. I bought Bernard's plane tickets. I flew Bernard to Philadelphia. Like, what are you talking about? But he didn't know. But he's checking me, or he thinks he's checking me. He's asking, how come you didn't do this? And I said, I actually do know. Everything, every name, I already know. But he doesn't know that I know. And so it just was very combative and unnecessary, and it didn't move anything. All it did was really invalidate all the shit that he was talking in the chat earlier. And in my opinion, it was embarrassing. Hey, Gail. How you doing, love? What's KL say? KL says, I don't understand. Let me put him up on the... KL says, I don't understand why some brothers don't work together when black men trying to build something. That is a bar. That is a bar. When you think about music groups, have you ever noticed that we all break up? The black groups, we all break up. Like Destiny's Child is not going to stay together. 112 is not going to stay together. Like the groups all break up. It's always some kind of infighting, bickering. It's like, when do we work together? It's like, bruh. Shout out to UKL. I don't understand it either, man. And then you can come up and address it directly right then and there. Obsidian didn't give the same energy. He could have said, Obsidian could have been like, no, I ain't fucking with him. I ain't working with him. No, I don't believe in this. We got some history. He didn't do none of that. I just was asking Gabe, because he didn't address anything that he was talking in the chat to me. I went up there twice. And I was just asking the brother, like, yo, man, why can't we work together? Listen, Gabe A has something to offer that's valuable, I would imagine. I can't quantify it. I don't know. People could say anything. Obsidian, all he did was put up a picture of the Black Manosphere. Of course, I know it because I'm the producer of the Black Manosphere. But say I wasn't the producer. Say I was just watching from the chat and didn't know these guys. All they did was put up pictures so nobody can quantify what Obsidian put up. He just put up a picture of some people sitting and watching. We don't even know if that picture's real. All Gabe did was put up some pictures. The point is, from the outside looking in, it's just it ain't like we've been to your school. It ain't, there's no testimony. Not that night, not at the time. My thing was, just from the surface image, just from the surface level of what you are putting out, the image that you guys are, the links that you put, because basically they was, trying to show resumes. It's like a battle of resumes and shit. You know how corny that is? Everybody knows. Look how big my dick is. Well, look how big it's like, yo, don't look what I've done for the community. Okay, if that's true, why we can't work together? If what you did is true, then why can't we work together? Why can't we get together and make some shit happen? What the fuck? Did somebody fuck somebody's girl? Did somebody steal some money out of somebody's bank account? Did somebody wreck somebody's car? That's what I be thinking. Like, who here banged whose girlfriend? You know what I'm saying? Who stepped on? Who punched who the last time they saw each other? If none of that happened, if nobody hit nobody, nobody stole nobody's money, nobody took nobody's lunch, nobody banged nobody's girl, then what the fuck are y'all mad about? Multi-year mad at each other for? It makes no sense to me when there's a bigger picture. But there's a community. There's that black culture. That black culture always rears its ugly head, man. KL says not all people is the same. We can work with like-minded. Yeah, man. And you know what, KL? The only like mind that we have to have is that let's all do better tomorrow than we are today. That's all that needs to be matched. Do you want better tomorrow than today? Even for yourself. Let's say you ain't trying to save the community. There's a lot of people like, man, fuck that community. I ain't trying to save the man. I ain't trying to save everybody. Just say you want to save just the people in your family, the people around you. Fine. That's fine. I'm not talking about how much you got to save. Just do we want to push the needle forward? Why can't we work together? What do you got? Let me show you what I got. You show me what you got. Let's see if it works. No, man. And it was just constant. I don't even know why I'm saying anything to you, because you brought this to the fucking internet. You had a question about an email that somebody sent you last year. You asking tonight? Why didn't you ask that thing? I wrote him back. Okay. He goes live every day. Obsidian is the most accessible person, one of the most accessible people I know. What the fuck was that saying? Hold on, let me turn my volume up. I'm here listening to sounds. I don't even know what they are. Why aren't you calling? Why don't you give him a call? Hey man, why you send me that email, bro? What you trying to say? It was a private email, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Here, see, you see, this is the stuff. I ain't calling no names. I'm just pointing out. Somebody sent you a private email from their email account to you privately. No CCs, no BCCs, not published on nobody's timeline. It's not part of anybody's Instagram story. It's not, you know what I'm saying? There was no show on it. It was a private email sent from one person to another. And then the person that received the email 8 months later goes publicly on the show with a couple hundred people and saying, why you send me that email? And then posts the email for everybody to see. I'm not going to tell you how that sounds to me. You just tell me what you think. You know what? Don't even tell me. Just, you know what that sounds like. You know what kind of nigga, what kind of people do that shit. A private email. And then you got a grievance for it. And then you bring it up 8 months later. And I asked about that. That's what I inquired about. Because I really want to say, hey man, why are you doing this? What's your goal? Well, I don't have to explain nothing to you. Yeah, but explain it to the 400 people that's watching, because that's who you brought it up in front of. The disrespect that you put in my man DJ Hamp's show, the super chats that you sent, the shit you was talking. I mean, it's just like, it was over and over again. And then he was doing this with multiple people, not just me. And then the second part was me just representing what we're doing, the organization and what we're trying to put together, and how we're trying to advance black men to be better black men. That's all it is. We just want to make black men be better black men. What up, nephew? GG, this is not it's about race. The show is about race. I see you over at TikTok, GG. This is going to be more about race. That's what we're going to talk about. That's what tonight's topic is going to be about. If you still here, GG. Because I'm going to explain to you guys. We're going to talk about Jim Crow. But I'll just answer my man KL. Because he had a question. Machine says something simple like a reply to a comment. Right. So that's all. And then the young brother, DJ, I forget his name. There's another, his name is like DJ Hamp, is another young brother that pulled up on the show. His name is DJ something. He was talking about the Manosphere. He's overseas right now. And he was cool, brother. But he, you know, he had skepticisms on the image and the display that the Manosphere has been doing over the years. And I just wanted to clear up some things about what the Black Manosphere particularly is doing now. I'm not sure. I wasn't there in 2017 when it was formed, or 2015, whatever. I wasn't there, 2017. I wasn't there. All I know is where it was when the baton was handed to me and when I built that website and where it's at now and all the things that we're doing and all the intricacies that's really not public, all the people that we're helping. I know where it's at now. And I just wanted to explain, because the brother was saying, it looks like it's like the Manosphere is just a bunch of dudes sitting around hating on black women. That's what the Black Manosphere is, just a bunch of men. It's nothing. It's not taking you nowhere. It's not pushing nothing forward. DJ Kuda, thank you, KL. Shout out to DJ Kuda. Shout out to KL too for helping. I understand that ain't what it is today. That ain't what it is. In fact, the reason why I jumped on camera originally is because somebody had asked in the chat if toxic feminism was removed and men's hatred for women or whatever problems that they have was removed, could in relationships between black men and black women became harmonious and prosperous once again, what would happen to the Black Manosphere? And Obsidian was like, the Black Manosphere would disappear. We'd be out of business. I came up and said, no, that's not true. The Black Manosphere would not be out of business. That's just one topic. You know how many things we talk about in the Black Manosphere? We talk about business. We talk about investments. We talk about fitness. We talk about real estate. We talk about technology. We talk about social issues, social image. The Black Manosphere would be just as strong with or without good relationships with black women, because black women is not the center of the topic in the Black Manosphere. The center of the topic in the Black Manosphere is simply this: making black men better men, period. That's the sentence. That's the mantra. That's the motto. That's the slogan. Making black men better versions of themselves. That's it. That's all it is. Shout out to Machine. I appreciate you. Shout out to Machine for the super chat. I appreciate you, Machine. Thank you for the support, man. Hit me with the $5 super chat. I appreciate that. You didn't have to do that, but you did it anyway. I tell people, I always stop the show. If somebody super chat me, shout them out. Because you don't have to, that's your money. So thank you, man. I appreciate you. So yeah, that's what the Black Manosphere is today. I don't care about what it was yesterday. I don't care about what it was 45 years ago, 7 years. I don't care about all of that. I don't care if it was a bunch of dudes that was upset sitting in the base. It ain't what it is today. All I want to do is make black men as rich as possible. Because I talk about the two ships, entrepreneurships and relationships. I want to make black men as rich as possible, as healthy as possible, as intelligent and as informed as possible, as fit as possible, and as happy as possible. And however that black man sees fit. There's a lot of married men that want happiness in business. Come to the Black Manosphere. There's a lot of entrepreneurs who's doing well in business, but is having trouble with women. Come to the Black Manosphere. There's a lot of men who are happy in love, making tons of money and happy in business, and want to connect with other men who's happy in love and happy in business. Come to the Black Manosphere. It's all about just being better men. That's it. Today, that's the iteration of it today. And you can see that at the blackmanosphere.com website. So if relationships were mended between men and women, and I see the chat flying over here at TikTok. I'm sorry, TikTok. I gotta look. I gotta look over here and see. My nephew, remembers he said, I thought it was only one race, the human race. It is only one race, the human race. But whatever the black, I don't know what the Black Manosphere was before because I wasn't there. But what it is today is just that. And if we were to remove the gender war, the problems that men are having with women today based on feminism, based on individualism, based on, all the issues that we're going through in dating and mating with black women, particularly today, if all of that was fixed, the Black Manosphere would still be in business because we got a lot of other shit to get together and to get men together. Men have issues that we need to work out. It's just that simple. And so I was telling my man, he was like, yeah, I tried to bring up, DJ Kuda was like, yeah, man, I tried to bring up some situations where, I was trying to teach some audio and trying to help people with money and, no, not money, with electronics and DJ, because he's a DJ. And he was trying to help people with microphones and stuff like that. And he said nobody was interested. And I'm telling him, bruh, you gotta come to the conclave to understand. You gotta ignore what you see on YouTube and these late night, because it's only a couple hundred people that you can even name in the dating and mating spaces for black people on YouTube. But it's thousands of people that watch the content, and everybody eats the hand, spits out the sticks, as they say, or what is it? Eat the meat and spit out the bones. So it's thousands of people that we're talking to, but maybe the most incendiary and the most popular and most shock value topics are the dating and mating one, because everybody wants to be in love. Everybody loves sex. Everything in the world is about sex except for sex. Sex is about power. That's what Oscar Wilde said. That's a quote from him. So that whole, the Black Manosphere is only about men hating on black. That's not true. Come to the conclave. You'll see that we don't even talk about that. That's not even the topic. Go to the website. You'll see that's not even the topic. We talk about so much more. Connections are made. People are getting paid. People learning skills and learning how to do shit that they didn't know how to do prior. I'm talking old cats like me, 52, learning shit like, damn, didn't know how to do it. Now, so I should have did, REITs. What's a REIT? Oh, in real estate. Oh, that's what that is. So I can, instead of just buying a standard, single family home in Arkansas, I can go get these, I can hire a lawyer. Like it's so, I don't even want to give you guys all the information that we got last year, because this year is going to be off the chain. And I was telling DJ Kuda, bruh, the shit that you saying, if that's true, at the Black Manosphere Conclave, there's going to be tons of men that want to listen and learn about what you got to say. But he didn't seem to think in the Manosphere that there's an audience for that. He said, oh, you got to go somewhere else. You got to go somewhere else for that. I said, no, it's right here. The brothers in the Black Manosphere and the men that listen to us, they may not be very vocal because, the Black Manosphere, and rightfully so, as Kuda said, has a black eye from the past. We're clearing that up, man. Without a name change. I don't want to rebrand. I've heard, how many times I've heard that? Shan, you think about changing the name? What do you think about using a different name? Because, the black, no, we're going to use this name. We stand we don't kowtow to nobody. So I just wanted to explain that to him, and he was cool about it. I told him, I said, we need to connect. Maybe we will. I don't know. And then it was a good show. Now, KL, why you got me talking about this for so long? KL got me talking about, how far are we in, y'all? I'm 40 minutes in. How am I 40 minutes in the show? 15 minutes of it was the countdown. KL, you got me talking about this shit for 25 minutes. Shout out to KL. And then we got another super chat from is that my nephew? My nephew came through with the super chat. Or the super sticker, $20 super sticker. Members Run LA. That's my nephew. Love him to death. Love him to death. Literally. Love him to death. Yes, I would die for my nephew. He's literally my nephew, blood, my sister's son, one of them. Came over here. That's funny. How your family members give you $20 knowing that you're going to end up giving them $20 back? That's like we just giving away money to YouTube. So that was it, man. Fantastic show. But all of Hamp's shows over there at It Might Be Risky is fantastic. I don't know if you guys follow his channel. All you got to do is go to YouTube, type in It Might Be Risky, and he'll pop up, DJ Hamp. Make sure you subscribe to that show. Make sure you subscribe to Obsidian over at Rumble. All you got to do is go to Rumble. You don't even have to type in his whole name, Mumia Obsidian Ali. All you got to do is go to Rumble and type the word Obsidian, and he'll pop up. Subscribe to Obsidian as well. And of course, you guys, go take a look at the Black Manosphere website, blackmanosphere.com. I'd love to have you guys come out. We're doing our conclave in Miami at the Miami Convention Center. Hosted right there at the Hyatt, by the Hyatt, because it's a huge monstrosity of a building. It's the Miami Convention Center, but it's shared and it's mixed with the Hyatt Regency. So we're doing it at the Miami Convention Center with the Hyatt Regency. Machine hit me with another super chat. Yo, he says, we miss Bernard. Shout out to my man. This is his second super chat. This is Machine's second super chat. Appreciate you, bro. He says, LA Ninja just because. Oh, you in LA, Machine? That's what's up. Me and my nephew, we in LA. I'm right in the Crenshaw district, right off of 48th. And you know, Lamert Park and View Park, that's where we are right now. That's where I'm standing right now. And shit. Nipsey Hussle, I can jog over to the Marathon store. Shout out to Black Sam. He says, LA Ninjas, just because. We miss Bernard, though. Yeah, man. If you're talking about Bernard Riley, I hit him a couple times. He's busy. Life be lifing and shit. And this YouTube thing is not easy. Life be lifing. So Bernard is over taking care of business, obviously. He's very successful. So shout out to my man, Bernard Riley. Machine says, I'm Tony's friend. Tony, my frat brother, Tony? Lone Wolf, Tony? Which Tony? I know so many Tonys. Anyways, shout out to you, Machine. I appreciate you, bro. Put it in the chat. Which Tony? Help me out. Help me out. Nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, so Gail was in LA a couple weeks ago and didn't hit me up. Got it. Don't worry about it. I probably would have been busy anyway. Jim Crow. Who is Mr. Jim Crow and where did he come from? Let's get into the show tonight, you guys. Let's get into the show tonight. Who is Jim Crow? You hear that term Jim Crow, and I appreciate you guys allowing me to talk for 40 minutes. Dig this. I plan to only do the show for an hour. It looked like we already damn near an hour in, and I haven't started yet. So I'm going to be quick, you guys. I'm going to be quick. It took every ounce of energy to do this show tonight. It's past midnight here in Los Angeles. It's 3 o'clock on the East Coast. I did not anticipate anybody being up at this time. I was hoping to kind of like do a silent show, and then y'all catch the replays later. Jim Crow, but a lot of you guys hear that term Jim Crow. Like, who is Jim Crow? I get it. Everybody has Google, but everybody don't use Google. You know how many colloquial? There's a lot of different terms, phrases, things that we hear. Do you guys know where the cliche "don't throw the baby out with the bathwater" comes from? It was crazy when I learned where that came from. Oh, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I know what you mean. I know you probably know what it means, but do you know where it came from? Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. put it. If you guys want me to explain it to you, I can. I'll do it at the end of the show. But you got to let me know you want me to. Otherwise, you could have Googled that. You guys have been hearing that forever. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And then you just kind of went with the flow. But none of you guys ever looked it up. I know you haven't. When I hear things like that, just because I'm a super nerd and I'm a cornball like that, I hear stuff. I say, oh, I want to know the etymology to words. I want to know where these phrases come from. What does that mean? Don't throw the baby. It's so many other phrases that I just look up like, where'd that come from? And when I found out where it came from with the family and the water and the bath water and the dirt, you guys are going to learn about it. You're going to either look it up or I'm going to explain it to you. But the point is, you could have always looked up the phrase, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You could have always looked that up, and you didn't. And the reason why is because we're busy. People are busy, and we just kind of go with the flow. We are a colonial species. You know what I'm saying? We kind of just we listen to the people in our space, and then we just adapt to what they do or say. And so when you hear Jim Crow, we know it's racial. We know it's like a bad thing. It's like Jim Crow. Yeah, I don't know what I'm not. Okay, so Jim Crow laws and Jim Crow. And who is Jim Crow? Was he a mayor? Or was he a leader of a white supremacy? Was he KKK? Who is Jim Crow? Who is that guy? And I thought to myself, you know what? And this speaks to what I was talking about with DJ Kuda. People talk about the Manosphere. Listen, you see me, you go to blackmanosphere.com, my face is on the homepage. And this is what I talk about. I had this show set up 3 weeks ago. We're not about to talk about black women and black this girls and women ain't shit and men ain't shit and stuff like that. I'm about to teach y'all about Jim Crow. Because I want you guys to understand what that means so that next time that you get into an intellectual conversation, because I have a lot of them, as a film producer, as a fashion designer, as an entrepreneur, as a public figure, so to speak, here in Los Angeles, I'm at events. I have to have intellectual conversations all the time. I go to grand openings. I go to releases, movie releases, song releases, record releases. I do a lot of entertainment stuff at a lot of posh places in Hollywood, Beverly Hills, and whatnot. And when I go, I engage into a lot of intellectual conversations with a lot of intellects, a lot of people with a lot of money, and you can't. So I need to know these things. And when I get into political discussions, I rarely get into politics and religion. I typically don't like to talk about because that creates enemies. You don't really generate too many friends when you talk about politics and religion. But when it comes to social justice and things like that, I typically like to speak my mind and I like to be well informed. And so I want you to be well informed. Like people like Gail, you'll see Gail in my chat. She's super smart. She's super smart. I'm not sure if she still does her show on YouTube. I used to watch it all the time. I haven't really been on YouTube like that. I only kind of come just to do my show and then I'm out. But people like Gail, you got to be well versed and intelligent to be able to talk to Gail when you see a person like her in real life. That's just what has to happen. Otherwise, you won't be able to keep up and she'll just move along. And I don't ever want to get passed up by anybody. I don't want anybody to ever say, oh, that dude Shannon don't know what he's talking about. He's not smart. He doesn't read. He doesn't learn. And so hopefully I can inspire you guys to learn about other things other than black female fuckery and niggas ain't shit and all that kind of stuff and relationships and Pookie and Ray Ray and no, I talk about all kind of stuff. Tonight we're talking about Jim Crow. Now, Jim Crow is a name that started as a stage gag. I'm giving you too much credit, Gail. Jim Crow started as a stage gag, you guys. I got some notes here. And turned into like a chokehold on American life way back in the 1800s. Where'd it come from? Some of you guys want to know, like, what is Jim Crow? Who is it? What was he was he a slave owner? Was he a fat white guy that owned a plantation? How did the term Jim Crow become a law? And what's it still doing to us? let's talk about it, you guys. You see, Jim Crow, the term, it kicked off in the 1830s. That's where it was born in the 1830s. It was a white guy. His name was, let me write, what did I write? Thomas Daddy Rice. Daddy was his nickname. And I'm going to put up some stuff on the screen so you guys can see it. Especially good for everybody that's watching or rewatching this. So white guy, think about this. I want everybody to go back. 1830. No electricity, no telephones, no automobiles, no cars were made. Daimler-Benz didn't make the first Mercedes-Benz yet. But he was an actor in New York. And he saw a black man. Now, the guy he saw could have been a slave. Maybe he was a stable hand watching, Master's horse, working somewhere around the theater. We don't know. But Thomas Rice was yes, nephew, 195 years ago. He was an actor, white guy. And when he saw this black guy, not sure who the black guy is, but the brother was singing and dancing. You know, they say shucking and jiving. Yeah, that's another phrase. If you guys do you know the etymology on the phrase shucking and jiving? We know we heard Mama talk about it. Don't be on here shucking and jiving. So, this brother, the brother was shucking and jiving. He was singing and dancing, and he was all raggedy and crooked. That's how he was. He was tattered. His clothes was ripped up. It wasn't too well put together, black man, in this year of, I'm not sure what exact, it was around early 1830s. And so this actor, Mr. Thomas Rice, he watched from a distance this black man who was probably happy at the time, probably had a good master or had just eaten a good meal or something like that. He was watching him. And he was watching how that black man was moving. You guys ever seen the movie Forrest Gump? I would argue that most of you have seen Forrest Gump. Do you remember the scene in the movie Forrest Gump where Forrest was young and he was hanging out with Elvis Presley, and Elvis Presley was watching him dance with those leg braces on his legs? And then next thing you know, Elvis Presley was doing his dance. That's what Thomas Rice was doing when he was watching that black man in 1830. He was sitting back watching how he was moving. And just think about Forrest Gump. Think about how Elvis was watching Forrest dance, and next thing you know, he stole the dance and was doing it and became a sensation. Thomas Rice was watching this black dude dance, probably cleaning a horse or some shit, you know what I'm saying? And just a happy black slave dancing in New York. And so he took that. And then what he did was, Thomas Rice, he took soot, and put it on his face. And he made blackface. He took some soot, ash, took some black ash and wiped it on his face. And then he called it Jump Jim Crow. He called it Jump Jim Crow and made it a hit minstrel act. And all he did was mock black people. This white guy saw this brother who was happy, minding his business, shucking and jiving. The white boy said, oh, let me go grab some ash, put it on my face, turn into a black dude, put on some raggedy, tattered up clothes, and start mocking him, and called it the Jump Jim Crow. And he made it a hit. And all he did was mock black people as dim, stupid, and lazy, and, laughable. And by 1838, for a few years later, quote unquote, Jim Crow was a slang term for black people. And it was dripping with disrespect. That's correct, ladies and gentlemen. Jim Crow is not a man. It's not somebody that was born the name Jim Crow. Jim Crow, the term, and I'm going to give you some more history, and I'm going to talk about the law. I got some more education for you. The term Jim Crow, for those that don't know, now you know. And no one's half the battle. Shout out to all the old school people like me who watch G.I. Joe. Jim Crow was not a person. Jim Crow was created by a man named Mr. Rice, who watched a black man dancing in New York, and the white guy was an actor. And when he took that, he put blackface on and started acting silly and shucking and jiving as a white guy and turned it into a minstrel show. And he called it Jim Crow. And by 1838, the term Jim Crow was a fucking slang word for black people. That was just disrespectful fucking, imagine fucking Jim Crow. Look, Mary, look at Jim Crow over there. That's what that was. That was the birth of the term Jim Crow. That's how it started. Now, if you fast forward after the Civil War, this is after the Civil War. Slavery is done. All right. That's right, Gail. Cheesing and dancing. Step and fetch. Yes. Yes. So now, damn, I got 1,000 likes over on TikTok. Shout out to TikTok. I can't see TikTok, but shout out to the people that gave me the likes. Appreciate you guys. I don't think it's a lot of people in there. I don't know how many people's in there. A couple, maybe one or two. I don't know. I'm not sure how many people's on TikTok, but shout out to the people at TikTok. So, yeah. So it turned into a minstrel show, and then white people just took Jim Crow, got rid of the jump, called it Jim Crow, and it became a slang term that white people use towards black people. A derogatory phrase, disrespectful term. And you had to be, probably dark and your clothes tattered and look at that Jim Crow over there. And that's how that came. All because a white guy mocked a black guy who was happy dancing in New York in 1830s. Yes. Yes, nephew. Where is he? Let me put this up. He said, so that was the way they called us niggas. Because a white dude created blackface. You got it. And now you know. And knowing's half the battle. And everything that you guys learned here tonight, please give it to your children. Give it to your wife. Give it to your daughter. Give it to your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad, your uncle, your aunt. Pass the information, man. That's what we do. We pass information. When somebody says the word Jim Crow, say, do you know what Jim Crow is? After tonight, you'll be able to say, I know what Jim Crow is. You could have always looked it up. But this is more entertaining, right? Now, we're going to move past the Civil War. Okay, this is after slavery's done. Reconstruction is trying to fix shit up. But the white folk, North and South, they wasn't having it. That minstrel vibe, that black inferiority, oh man, they loved it. It stuck. Even after, because everybody didn't want to get rid of the slaves. Abraham Lincoln, Abraham, what are you doing? Getting rid of the slave? What are you talking about? Abolish slavery. Nevertheless, he succeeded. Slavery's over. After the Civil War is finished, the North won, right? Confederate Army is defeated. But a lot of white folk didn't want to let that go. And they certainly didn't want to let that Jim Crow dancing and shucking and jiving and all that shit go. They didn't want to let that go. No. So, roughly 50 years later, you guys, by the 1880s, Jim Crow, it wasn't just a diss. It wasn't just a put down. It named a system. Jim Crow became over 50 years from 1930s, became a derogatory term specifically in 1938. By the 1880s, roughly 40 to 50 years later, if you just say 1840 to 1880, 40 years, over 40 years of minstrel, 40 years of minstrel shows, ladies and gentlemen. That's synonymous to 1980 to 2020 of minstrel shows and Jim Crow and black people being derogatorily called Jim Crow as a diss. 40 years of that, 40 plus really, almost 50 if you go to the initial beginning of Jim Crow before it became a hit. Jim Crow became a system, and it first popped up in the newspapers in New York Times for segregated train cars up north. And then it transitioned down south. By the time it got down south, that was around 1877, right after Reconstruction kind of tanked. And then it switched to the laws. And now we are in 1877. I'm going to read. I'm just going, you know what? Maybe I should bring the slides up so you guys can read it, and I'll read that to you. Because now is the pivot, and this is where we currently talk about Jim Crow when it speaks to laws. So let me bring up the slides that I created for you guys, because I could talk about it, but it's better that you read it along with me. So I'm going to read this. We're going to read this together, you guys. Move this off of my screen. Okay. The origin of the term Jim Crow. Minstrel and Thomas Dartmouth Rice. You know, they called him Daddy, but his middle name was really Dartmouth. The term Jim Crow first emerged in the 1830s through a popular minstrel show character created by Thomas Rice, a white performer known as Daddy Rice. Rice performed in blackface, a theatrical practice where white actors used burnt cork or makeup to caricature African Americans. His character, named Jim Crow, was introduced in a performance between acts of a play called The Kentucky Rifle. Mr. Rice would sing and dance to a song titled Jump Jim Crow, which included the lyrics, wheel about and turn about and do just sober time. I wheel about, I jump Jim Crow. I can't imagine how that shit sounds, you guys. Just imagine yourself some 1830s dialect. And then say that fucking sentence. I'm not even going to try to do it. The character was portrayed as a dim-witted, exaggerated stereotype of an African American reflecting and perpetuating racist attitudes of the time. What's up, Krieger? Jamaica in the building. Shout out to you. The cultural impact of the character. See, Rice's Jim Crow became a sensation in the 1830s. Almost, 195 years ago, as Members Run LA says, making him one of the most famous minstrel performers of that era. Minstrel shows, which thrived from around 1850 to 1870, so he was an early adopter of the minstrel shows, were a popular form of entertainment in the United States. And Rice's portrayal helped establish, am I popping on this mic, you guys? If I am, I'm sorry. Let me move it like this. Yeah. Because I hate to talk directly into the mic. Minstrel shows, which thrived around 1850 to 1870, were a popular form of entertainment in the United States, and Rice's portrayal helped establish a template for other minstrel shows. Now, while the character initially popularized blackface minstrelsy, it also fed into a heightened, pernicious stereotypes of African Americans. Pernicious. I'm sorry. What did I? Pernicious. A heightened pernicious stereotype of African Americans, portraying them as buffoonish and inferior, even as it reflected a white fascination with black culture. Evolution into a pejorative term by the late 1830s, quote unquote Jim Crow, as I told you earlier, 1838 from my notes, had become a pejorative epithet for African Americans, although it wasn't as hostilely. my screen is small, so it's hard to say. Derisive. Okay, derisive. I'm thinking it says divisive. Hostilely derisive as some other racial slurs of the time. It still carried a derogatory connotation rooted in the mocking portrayal of black people in minstrel shows. So I already kind of explained that. Now, let's talk about the transition to racial segregation laws. And that's where we left off when I was just giving you my notes. The association with segregation, the term Jim Crow later became associated with the system, ladies and gentlemen. Even though it was just a term to talk about black people, to diss black people, to laugh at black people, to say that black people didn't have nothing. They smell bad, they dress bad, they wore scraps of clothing just to barely cover themselves up. They shucking and jiving and doing all the jig, and dancing the jig and doing all that kind of stuff. Doing all of that stuff, all it was just a straight up diss. The term Jim Crow, created by this white actor in 1830 or early 1830s. By 1838, the term Jim Crow, a character that he made for his minstrel show, turned into a slur. And then over the next 40 to 50 years, it transitioned from a slur into a system of government. Association with segregation, Jim Crow later became associated with the system. That's important. This is what racism is. You guys got to understand. Maybe I should do a show about the difference between racist and being a bigot. You know, are you racist? That's what we just naturally say. Oh, you racist. But you got to understand, I want you guys to learn, and maybe I'll do a show on it, on what a bigot is. You got to understand what a bigot is. You got to understand what the difference between bigotry, racism, and prejudice. Okay, there's 3 distinct terms. Are you prejudiced? Are you a bigot? Are you racist? Do you guys know that? Maybe I'll do it we'll see what the comments say after this show. If you want me to do a show on that, I'll break it down. I know you can run the Google. You could have ran the Google for Jim Crow, but you didn't. So leave it to me to teach or to educate or to give the game about the difference between being racist and what racism is, being a bigot and what bigotry is, and being prejudiced. Okay? So, with the system of racial segregation laws that emerged in the southern United States after the end of the Reconstruction in the late 1870s, as I told you earlier, 1877, these laws, known as quote-unquote Jim Crow laws, the ratter-tattered, stupid, buffoon, black man laws. You might as well just say that. The ratter-tattered, stupid, buffoonery black man laws. You get it now, guys? When you hear Jim Crow laws, now hopefully you're looking at it a little different, like, oh, it's the ratter-tattered, shucking and jiving black guy laws. The uneducated can't read, yes, sir, that, it's for him laws. You get it now? Is it coming together? It enforced racial segregation in public facilities like water fountains, restrooms, restaurants, lodging, transportation, and schools under the doctrine of separate but equal, which was legally sanctioned by the U.S. Supreme Court in Plessy versus Ferguson in 1896. This system of segregation persisted until the civil rights movement of the 1950s and 1960s began to dismantle it. For 50, 60 years, you guys. Basically, if you were a ratter-tatted, uneducated, buffoonery black man, you can't come in here and eat. But fuck it. All of y'all are like that, so now none of y'all can come. You see, you don't got nothing, you don't own nothing, you can't speak right, you don't have a command of the English language, you can't read, your shoes are worn, you wearing, you got holes in the bottom of your boots, and you're barefoot. You don't even have boots. How about that? How many people went out to go see the movie Sinners? Did you see the wardrobe in Sinners? You know, you just notice that a lot of people in the town early on when they was going to get the supplies for the party, black people didn't even have shoes. They were barefoot. You know, so, oh, you don't got no shoes? You don't got a nice hat? You don't have your clothes is dirty, you stink? Oh, you can't drink from this water fountain. You can't come into this you can't stay at this hotel lodging area because you're just a Jim Crow. You see what now is it making? You are a Jim Crow. And that's where the laws were put in place. Why Jim Crow for segregation? It's not entirely clear how the character Jim Crow became directly linked to these segregation laws. It's clear enough for me. I'll just explain it to you guys. But the association likely stems from the term existing as a derogatory label for African Americans. The name Jim Crow became a symbolic shorthand for the systemic racism and discrimination that these laws enforced, reflecting the same dehumanizing attitudes that the racist character embodied. The use of the term in this context, because context matters, right, underscores the racist intent behind the laws as they sought to marginalize and oppress African Americans in a manner reminiscent of the mocking stereotypes perpetuating minstrel shows, shucking and jiving, y'all. Jim Crow is black people who were shucking and jiving. Have you guys ever seen the movie Gangs of New York? Remember the movie Gangs of New York? In the movie Gangs of New York, there was a scene where they were all kind of drunk and the party was over, but there was that one black dude who had to dance. He couldn't stop dancing. He was shucking and jiving in the bar, just dancing for the white folk. He just moving, he was just dancing. He couldn't stop. He just doing his thing. That's Jim Crow. He was Jim Crow to them. When they looked at him, they would say, Jim Crow. When you heard the term Jim Crow, you saw a rattered-tattered, uneducated, can't speak, can't read, buffoon black man who was shucking and jiving for everybody. And then the laws came about. This is saying that they don't really know. No, we know. The laws came about because they wanted to separate that shucking and jiving black man from all the proper, the prim and proper people. And the only prim and proper people there was the white folk. So it didn't matter if you were a black man like W.B. Du Bois or somebody, Frederick Douglass. It didn't matter if you were clean, educated, or no. We can lump all of y'all niggas in one group. And so Jim Crow laws applied to anybody black. It didn't apply just to black people that were poor or didn't have anything or had no shoes or their clothes is fucked up. They just said all of y'all niggas is fucking Jim Crows. And so now we're going to establish some Jim Crow laws to make sure that we separate you from us. So we can separate you from us. Now here's some historical context. Appreciate you guys being here. Minstrel's role in racism. Minstrel shows, including Rice's performance, played a significant role in embedding racist stereotypes into African American culture. While Rice himself wasn't the first to perform in blackface, his popularity helped make minstrelsy a dominant theatrical form. And the Jim Crow character that he created after he watched that black man dance and then turn around and start, mimicking him. Where did I leave off? His popularity helped make the minstrelsy dominate theatrical form, and the Jim Crow character became a cultural touchstone for racial caricature. Legal codification of segregation, the Jim Crow, quote unquote, laws were a direct response to the end of Reconstruction, which was in 1877, a period when African Americans gained a little bit This is after Reconstruction. You guys learned this in history, so I don't have to talk about this. When African Americans gained a little bit of political and social rights, we got a little, they threw us a few things. Oh, they hated Reconstruction. Anyways, white Southern lawmakers sought to reassert control. The Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, all the southern states, they wanted to reassert control by codifying racial segregation, and the term Jim Crow became a fitting symbol for this era of legalized discrimination due to its origins in racial mockery. They said we need to write it in law that we could separate these black people from us. What do we call it? Well, what have we been calling these niggas for 50 years? Oh, Jim Crow. Because that's all they are. They all just Jim Crows. They're all just fucking Jim Crows. Let's just call it the Jim Crow laws. Now, the end of the Jim Crow laws began to unravel when the Civil Rights Movement came around, particularly through landmark events like the 1954 Brown versus Board of Education decision, which declared that the separate but equal schools was unconstitutional. You couldn't say we equal, but we separate. No, if we equal, we equal. It is what it is. And the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which outlawed segregation and discriminatory practices. My man Krieger Bailey says William Lynch lived in Portland, Jamaica, where he had his plantations. You know, there's a debate on if Willie Lynch was even real. People argue that letter was created in 1982, and there's no historical reference to the to the Willie Lynch letter prior to 1982. It first arose in any print anywhere on planet Earth in the 1980s. But tonight we're not talking about the Willie Lynch letter. Maybe I'll do a show on that because I'm not well versed on it. I learned that in college, and so that's fuzzy. But nevertheless, shout out to Krieger Bailey. Appreciate you. Yeah, man. In 1877, the federal troops pulled out of the South after a shady deal puts Rutherford Hayes in the White House. It was called the Compromise of 1877 when Rutherford Hayes became the president of the United States. Jim Crow laws hit right there when they made Rutherford president. Segregation became codified, and black people had separate trains, separate schools. If you wanted some water, you had to drink out a separate fountain because it was the law. It was literally no different than you have to stop at a red light or you have to walk across the street at a crosswalk. It was against the law to even be in the same space as white people, because all y'all niggas is nothing but Jim Crows. All of y'all are Jim Crows. You ain't nothing but what we saw in the minstrel shows, because that's all they did. You remember all they had was theater. Theater was the entertainment. Theater and music. Theater and of course, theater is a mix of music and live performance. So theater was big. And minstrel shows became really big between 1950 and 1970. So Jim Crow, they was doing Jim Crows across the nation. Everybody, all these white actors was putting on black soot or makeup and then dancing the jig and acting like a Jim Crow. And their characters were Jim Crows. All because of what this white guy, Mr. Rice, did when he watched that happy black man dancing. And then it became a derogatory term for black people. So now all y'all niggas is Jim Crows. And then we gave the presidency to Rutherford Hayes right after Reconstruction. And he hated niggas. And so they codified the law and said, separate these niggas from the good white folk. They can't be around here. Boom. Jim Crow was born. Jim Crow laws was born. Cold game. Now, here's some notes I got for you guys. These laws weren't just rules. It was a cage. They weren't just rules. It was a cage. Voting? Nope. Poll taxes, literacy tests. Good luck if you was black. You had to pay a tax to vote, and you had to prove you could read to vote. Public spaces? Nope. White only. Signs everywhere. All over the city. All over the town, rather. You know what I mean? Jobs, housing, schools. It was all rigged to keep black folk down. That's what Jim Crow is. When you guys think of a man, it wasn't Jim Crow was black people. Jim Crow was you and me. If I was to somehow jump into a capsule and go back in time, I'm Jim Crow. I'm a Jim, and it doesn't matter how smart, it doesn't matter. I'm a Jim Crow. And you know, that's an issue. That brings up another topic when we talk about the rappers and all this. How do people look at you? What did Jay-Z say? You know, you still a nigga? And like, it doesn't matter how smart you are or have you put on a suit and how, you know, to a lot of people's eyes, all of y'all niggas is still Jim Crows. Doesn't matter that you drive a Mercedes or a nice car. In fact, some people may look at that as like, who, this nigga on a horse? Shout out to Django. A nigga on a horse? What you doing what are you doing driving that car, Shannon? You ain't supposed to drive that. Are you kidding me? Right. Oh, look at what Mayor says. This is a bar. Sad to say, many black people are reenacting Jim Crow behavior today. Shucking and jiving. You Jim Crow. We see it in the music. We see it in what some of these rappers is doing. We see it on Instagram every fucking day. Shucking and jiving. Back then, the black people were Jim Crow. It was a slur. It was a derogatory term for dumb niggas. And so, it became law. But it wasn't just the law and some rules that you had to abide by. They used it, the Jim Crow laws, to keep black people away and out of everything. It was all rigged. Oh, and if you push back, lynching. From 1890s to 1960, this was the South's playbook, with the North winking along with its own version of sneaky segregation. You know, because the North was different. But down South, forget about it. South Carolina, forget about it. If you was a black dude down there, it was a cage, you guys. You were in an open prison. Jim Crow, it didn't just segregate. It scarred us. Economically, black communities starved out. These are some of my notes I'm finishing up here. The schools were underfunded, no loans, shitty jobs. Socially, it baked in distrust. White supremacy was was law, not an opinion. I remember when I wrote this, white supremacy was law. It was not an opinion as it is today. Oh, this is what you think. Oh, just freedom of speech. I could say what I want. You know, we got the situation with the woman calling that little 5-year-old autistic boy a nigger with a hard R because she said he was acting like one. It's not just opinion then. Back then, under Jim Crow's laws that was created, it was the law. It crushed generations. Imagine knowing the system built to hate you. I don't even want to read this. This is so upsetting. The Brown versus Board of Education in 1954, the civil rights laws, ghost slingers, wealth gaps, prison stats, red line neighborhoods where you can live and where you can't live. Last slide, guys, and I'm going to let you go. The term Jim Crow originated in the 1830s from a minstrel show character created by Thomas Dartmouth Rice. This is a wrap up so you guys can take this and teach the people that you love, teach your friends. It was created by a white man. Jim Crow, the term Jim Crow was in the 1830s created by a white man, an actor named Thomas Rice. He performed in blackface as a caricature, black man named Jim Crow. The character popularized racist stereotypes and by the late 1830s became a pejorative term for African Americans, a diss. A pejorative is a diss. It's a disrespect, it became a diss for black people. Over time, the term was adopted to describe the racial segregation laws in the southern U.S. from the late 19th century to the mid-20th century, reflecting the same racist attitudes that underpin Rice's portrayal. These Jim Crow laws enforced systemic discrimination until they were challenged and dismantled by the Civil Rights Movement. The term's journey from a theatrical caricature from a white man in 1830 to a symbol of legalized racism, legal, like it's on the books, had a number, highlights the deep interconnection between cultural representations and systemic oppression in American history. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what Jim Crow is. And now you know. For those that didn't know, now you know. Oh, I thought Jim Crow was probably some old fat racist white guy that just had that was elected to become the governor of wherever the hell, or he was the mayor of some city and it kind of passed on and he lobbied some folk in Washington and they passed some. No. Jim Crow was created by a white guy, an actor who was watching a black man dance as he was walking down the street. He looked across and he saw a black man just happy, dancing. He was kind of tattered up and, wasn't in the best condition, but he was a happy black man and he was just doing his thing, minding his damn business. And this white guy from a distance watched him and then went back and turned it into a fucking stage play. He took what he saw that black man doing and turned it into a stage play. He was a stage actor. And then after that, it blew up and it stuck. And then for the next, that's what he did for about 4 or 5 years, all the way up until 1938. And then after 1938, it became a pejorative. It became a diss for black people. The term Jim Crow, because that was the name of the character that the white guy made, it became a diss. And black people were called Jim Crow. You, if you black watching my show right now, you were called a Jim Crow. You were Jim Crow. A ratted-tatted, uneducated, can't read, can't write, dumb buffoon who was shucking and jiving. So you guys were Jim Crow. And then Jim Crow became a law. I wrote this. I'll read what I wrote as an ending. Because I never really, I don't even know why I do notes. I should just go do all my shows off the top of my head. Black Americans fought Jim Crow tooth and nail. Ida B. Wells, she called out lynchings. NAACP took it to court. Black people sat in, marched. Not just black people, white allies too. Certainly our brown brothers. Our Asian brothers and sisters, our Hispanic brothers and sisters, white brothers and sisters, people, just everybody started fighting back. They marched, they died. Think of Greensboro, you guys. MLK. That resistance cracked Jim Crow, but the cracks, still show today. Some say mass incarcerations is the new version of Jim Crow. Some could argue the rappers today. Some of these rappers and the gold teeth and the gold chains and the big super ropes and shit. And, you know, the handful of rings, the iced out, super iced out women, BBLs. And the swirly, what are those called? Baby hairs, the swirly baby hairs, and the weaves, and the lashes, and the raptor claws, and the cumbrellas that they wear. Jim Crow. The unclear speaking of English. When everybody has the opportunity to speak clear and concise English, some people don't. Some black people don't. What up, Chaos? Shout out to my man, Chaos. That is Jim Crow. Gangbangers, sagging pants, walking with their legs flared out, tattoos all over their body, everywhere, all over their face. Gang culture and the clothes that they wear, Dickies, baseball caps with sports teams representing whatever set they from. Jim Crow. Some of the hairstyles, unkempt, raggedy, and Jim Crow. All of that, it was from a racist reign to rappers. I mean, just it start. You know, imagine that, man. A black man just dancing the jig, minding his business in the 1830, all the way to everybody that's black is like that, whether you were like that or not. It shaped us up, man. It split us, it scarred us, it fucked us up. And it, even though the civil rights movement disbanded the Jim Crow laws, because that's what the name of them were, legally, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't just a kind of underscored phrase. It was written Jim Crow laws that said, you black people can't come into this restaurant, and you can't drink from this, and you can't use the same bathroom as them. And you can't ride in the same train cars as them. And if you're gonna get on the bus, you have to get to the back. You can't sit up front and get off the bus first. You gotta go straight to the back. We don't have enough buses at all that we can have a black bus and a white bus. And I take that back. Some places did have that. Some places had a black bus and a white bus where black and white people didn't even ride the same goddamn bus. And the white bus came more often than the black one did. Like, you know, say, you know, just imagine this. A bus that comes every 30 minutes. The white bus comes every 30 minutes. The black bus comes once every 2 hours. And the black people that got to be somewhere, they got to wait. If they miss that bus, they got to wait 2 hours to catch the next bus, whereas the white bus will come every 15 minutes. Or I'm sorry, every 30 minutes. And so it's stuff like that, ladies and gentlemen. And it was codified in law. The U.S. Supreme Court said okay. And the police enforced it. And that is where the term Jim Crow comes from. And if you didn't know, now you know. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to let you guys go. Share this information, though. Share this show. Send it out to people. Post it on your Instagram. Post it on your Twitter. Post it on your Facebook page. Say, do y'all, you know, I know everybody could have Googled Jim Crow, but now you know. It's like, oh, so I'm Jim Crow? So white folk called me Jim. I thought Jim Crow was, no, wife, you were Jim Crow. Imagine that. Now you know. But you know who else needs to know? Your children. Just to know. What do you do with that information, Shannon? You move different. That's how. That's why. When you know this kind of shit, when you know that this white guy looked at that black man and then stole his dance, blackface, put on some rat-a-tat, and then said, I'm being a nigga like him. And then that shit became sensational. It made people filthy rich and blew up and ran for 50 fucking years as live stage plays. What is today's version of Jim Crow? If dancing the jig and doing all that dumb shit that they considered buffoonery, then what is today's buffoonery? That's my question for you. This is why I'm talking about the show. So you guys know when you hear the term Jim Crow, it's not just the law. You need to know the etymology. You need to know the history of the phrase Jim Crow. And now that you know it came from a white actor who watched a black man, probably a stagehand, just happy and dancing, and then he turned it into a minstrel show. And then it turned into a derogatory phrase for black people. Oh, so in 1860s, 1865, in 1868, in 1871, in 1852, 1857, in 1873, when they looked at you, when they looked at your grandfather, your great-great-great-grandfather, he was a Jim Crow. Even if he wasn't a Jim Crow, even if he didn't act like one. That's how what is the Jim Crow today? So if they see, if it was all about dancing the jig and being a buffoon and you can't read and you can't speak good English, it's hard to understand what the fuck you saying, you know, and you can't even read the receipt that you got from the restaurant that you need to pay for, and you can't fill out a fucking job application. You can't fill out an apartment application to have a place to live. You can't pass a test. You can't. They push you through high school and graduate you to just get rid of you. Next thing you know, you rapping and you doing dumb shit and you looking dumb and you acting dumb and you spending all your tax return money on dumb shit, right? You singing dumb rap songs. Dumb R&B songs, because the R&B songs ain't about love today. They're about just fucking. Is that Jim Crow? Is that modern day Jim Crow? Yeah, in my opinion. And then what they do is they say, well, wait a minute, but what about the brother that's not doing all of that? Now we got still nigga. You still Jim Crow. Even if you are presentable and articulate and all of that, you got to work extra hard to make sure that you break the stereotype down from a distance. I'm not talking about the people that get to know you. Of course, the people that get to know you realize that that's not you. But what about the person from a distance? They see you and then they see that fucking crazy ass looking rapper that looks crazy with the crazy hairstyle and all that shit and the tat and face tat and all that. They say, well, them niggas is all Jim Crow. They both Jim Crow. Jim Crow. Both of them niggas is Jim Crow. I should show you this portrait I got on my wall that I've had for 25 years. 26, 20, I forget what year I bought it. Original lithograph from the artist that I found that I ran into on Venice Beach. When I was almost 30 years younger than I got it hanging on my wall. Damn, I should show. Josh, is my nephew still here? Should I show him this picture? The one above, over here in you know what I'm talking about. When you hear Jim Crow, now you guys are going to think about it differently than you ever have. What I want you to do is to explain this to somebody else and then charge them with the duty of explaining it to somebody else too. Hey, I'm gonna tell you what Jim Crow is. Just ask your friend tomorrow. Look, when you're at work tomorrow, do you know the history of Jim Crow? Guarantee you, most people are gonna say, I don't know. They're gonna say,
Welcome
ask somebody,
to the real world.
do you know who Jim Crow is? That's the better question. Ask tomorrow, because it's late, right? It's what time is it? So it's 1:12 here in Los Angeles, so it's 4 o'clock in New York. Tomorrow morning on Thursday, when you get into the world, you're doing what you're doing. You jump on the subway, you get to your job, whatever. During lunch break, whatever. You in school, you talking to your friends. Say, hey, do you know who Jim Crow is? That's the question. And see what their response is. And then educate them with what you just learned tonight. Or today, or whenever you're watching the show. Say, teach them the history of Jim Crow. And it's as simple as this. No. Jim Crow was a white guy who was an actor. Fuck the name. It doesn't matter. You don't have to say Mr. Rice. You don't have to say the guy's name, Thomas. You don't have to say it. There was a white guy in 1830s who was an actor walking down the street in New York and saw a black man dancing and happy, but he was tattered up. And then the white guy said, ooh, that looks like a new show for me. So the white guy went back home, put on blackface, and then started shucking and jiving on stage. And he said he created a song called Jump Jim Crow, and he called the character Jim Crow. Jim Crow was a white actor that was dancing like dancing a jig and shucking and jiving like a black guy that he saw on the street. Then, roughly 5 to 8 years later, sometime around 1838, the term Jim Crow, the character, ended up becoming a derogatory slur for black people. All niggas was Jim Crow. It wasn't no man. It wasn't no white guy named Jim Crow that created. All the niggas was Jim Crow. All the black people were Jim Crow. And white people started calling black people Jim Crow. That's what it was. And then that was the case for 50 years. And then right around 1977, after Reconstruction, they made a law to separate the Jim Crows from the good white folk. They didn't want the Jim Crows, the shucking and jiving, tatted up black people, to drink from the same water fountains, use the same toilet, eat at the same restaurants. They needed a way to separate them. And so the president at the time, because of the compromise of Reconstruction and after the Civil War, he helped codify the law called Jim Crow laws that separated black people and put them in a cage in America. That is Jim Crow. And it wasn't until the 1950s and 60s, 1964 particularly, of the Civil Rights Act, that they got rid of the Jim Crow law. Tell them that after you ask them, do you know who Jim Crow is? Because I guarantee you they're going to tell you they don't know. And I just wanted to educate you guys, man. That's all it is. And that is what the Black Manosphere is. That's what we do here in the Black Manosphere. It ain't about black women ain't shit and men ain't shit and Pookie and Ray Way and Big Shirley. And no, we talk about that too. Don't get me wrong. But we educate. We talk about all kind of stuff. I like to talk about money. I like to make money, and I like to teach people how to make money. Those that's willing to listen. Pass it on, man. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the army, the SR Army. You guys see it on the screen. Got it right here. Where's it at? Right here on the screen on YouTube and right here on TikTok. Y'all see it. YouTube and TikTok. This is where it's at. Join the SR Army. It's free right now. Lifetime membership. It's a mastermind group. I don't know if you guys have ever read the book Think and Grow Rich, but chapter 10, he talks about the power of the mastermind. Mastermind is when 2 or more people with like-minded goals get together and make shit happen. That's really what it is. That's it in a nutshell. Join my mastermind group. All you got to do is go to srarmy.com on your phone. If you have an iPhone, after this show is over, go to Safari and type in srarmy.com. Read the perks, scroll to the bottom, fill out the information, and join. It's free as a lieutenant for the life. Appreciate you guys. I'm Mr. Shan, the man with the plan. I've been there, done that, and not much surprises me anymore. And you, my friends, are dismissed.
chica quiere. Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, ella quiere ver. Pa' que el CP se dé cuenta que aquí perdió esa mujer. Lo que quiere es enloquecer, ser la mujer que él quería ver. Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, que yo parezca en él. Como que ella quiere, disfruta la noche, lo anormal. Porque el novio teme que su relación va a terminar. Se da cuenta que no necesita a alguien más. Quiere un selfie para su Instagram. Ella ya no quiere relación, alguien que diga su condición, que solamente le dé traición, para después llegar con un perdón. Quiere hangar y cervezas, baby, que goza la vida y lo hacen como esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, ella quiere ver. Para que el CP se dé cuenta que aquí perdió esa mujer, perdió esa mujer. Lo que quiere es enloquecer, ser la mujer que él quería ver. Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, que yo parezca en mí, que yo parezca en mí. No tiene sueños, solamente en sus sueños. Nos ponemos risueños con un norteño y mi flow brasileño. Yo te juro que es bueno, ya me doy el palo. Es empate si lo desigualo. Le gusta lo nasty y lo malo. Me traje un regalo. Ella ya no quiere relación, alguien que diga su condición, que solamente le dé traición, para después llegar con un perdón. Quiere hangar y cervezas, baby, que goza la vida y lo hacen como esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, ella quiere ver, ella quiere ver. Para que el CP se dé cuenta que aquí perdió esa mujer, perdió esa mujer. Lo que quiere es enloquecer, ser la mujer que él quería ver. Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, que yo parezca en mí, que yo parezca en mí. Dime todo lo que ella quiere, nada ha sido regalado. Entre más independiente, más quiero estar a su lado. Esas nenas, mata, es que más ella está plena la noche entera. Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, ella quiere ver, ella quiere ver. Para que el CP se dé cuenta que aquí perdió esa mujer, perdió esa mujer. Lo que quiere es enloquecer, ser la mujer que él quería ver. Esa chica quiere selfie, selfie, que yo parezca en mí, que yo parezca.